welcome to the third episode of Soap Talks. We are very thankful and grateful for y'all joining us here today, whether you're watching us on YouTube, Instagram TV, or Facebook, or listening to us on Anchor FM or Spotify, soon to be Apple Music. Regardless of how you're listening or watching us, we appreciate you. So let's get our show started first with Dinete, Paul.
Well, Ryan, I'm very excited for today's episode. We have a jam-packed session planned. We'll start off with a very serious topic, obviously, how to deal with the coronavirus, and we have a couple ideas for how to provide relief to our members and overall communities. And we'll be having our guest star, Alex Melas, the president of the SOP Albany chapter, speak with us shortly. And after that, we'll discuss a few events we have coming up, a few initiatives we've started, and then we'll do our typical atletica and Euro to round things off. So let's go ahead and kick it off with coronavirus relief. Alex, please share us. I know you texted me over the weekend, and we were talking about some ways we can get involved in relief efforts, and you had a couple great ideas. So please let us know your thoughts. Let us know what you were thinking.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. So right now, our national project is the JED Foundation with mental health, and that is extremely important. And unfortunately, we were thrown this pandemic that has affected hundreds of thousands, actually 1 million people worldwide. So I was thinking of ways that maybe the Sons could also chip in and donate some way to help during this problem. And kind of broke it down between different categories, but after talking with the Sons, we figured that we would get behind United Way, where they offer the financial services and different local services to help those affected.
So financially, yeah, we're thinking, we want to offer our chapters the ability to help out, but we understand that what's best for your community. The local level is always going to be where it's at. The Sons of Pericles and the entire HEPA family thrives off of our grassroots success. And so we will be coordinating moving forward. If you feel the need to donate monetarily to help your community overcome COVID-19, we will be setting up and coordinating for you to be able to donate through United Way. They have a national fund if you do not have a local United Way fund, but they have set up also, I know myself, I looked up over the weekend and I could even find by county. So, I looked up my county where I live, and they even have funds based on the county. So you're really able to serve your local community. And that's what we're hoping to charge our chapters to do, is kind of, if you're able to donate monetarily, try to raise some funds, donate to your local United Way fund, and be a part of the difference, be a part of the solution when it comes to this pandemic. Now, I know, Alex, we were also talking about, aside from the monetary options, some different ways that we can get involved on a little more hands-on level and still keep our chapters involved for those who might not want to go the monetary route.
Yeah, we're in an unprecedented time right now, equivalent to almost like a world war, where everybody in the whole world is chipping in and trying to help each other out. So if you aren't really comfortable or want to get a little bit more personal in terms of donations, there's other options such as medical services, like groups like Save the Children, Heart to Heart International, or companies that deliver medical supplies. A prominent one is Project Cure. And by helping those groups out, they send actual devices or PPE to those that need it the most. I was also thinking about, I just found this on my paper, online educational sites too, that are stepping in and offering free education to those students that are home due to this, for us to step in and maybe help them out, being that they're doing a huge favor for the community. Again, there's national sites like Code Academy or Khan Academy, but there's also local ones that we would be able to provide links moving forward. So there's many different categories of ways to help. We're standing more along United Way But if you want to get a little bit more personal, there is multiple different services.
And even if donations, monetary donations aren't the path that you choose, we're going to go ahead and we'll be rolling out shortly some options for you to get involved in making homemade medical supplies, PPE, masks, safety goggles, face shields, things that you can kind of safely and responsibly, but still effectively make in your houses and deliver to your local communities, or through a third party, make sure they go to the proper channels. So that'll include PPE, food, water, other non-perishable supplies, just like we've handled before in other, natural disasters. This is another sort of global disaster now, and we want to be here to make sure that we're serving our communities properly. So be on the lookout. All our social media platforms will be having shortly information on how you can get involved. Whether it's monetarily, whether it's actually just hands-on making supplies or delivering food to your senior centers, to people. Even I know, here in New Jersey, they've actually made it a state requirement where you have to wear a face mask in order to go to a retail store. In order to go to a public place, you now need a face mask. And so a lot of people, they don't have them. So maybe you can make some cloth masks and leave the N95s to the medical professionals who are on the front lines each and every day, who need the more industrial and professional equipment. And the cloth masks, of course, will not be as effective, but they have been shown to reduce your ability, at least, to spread the disease. So any way that you can get involved, keep an eye out for what we'll be putting out, and feel free to reach out with us to ideas. Our role here, I think, as the Supreme Lodge, is to come together and facilitate our entire international organization getting involved to try to have an impact in solving this crisis.
And if I could say one more thing, we're in a time where everybody's home, stuck at home, they're bored, they're fiddling their fingers. For those watching this, to bring back to your sons chapters throughout the country, this would be a perfect time to get in a Zoom meeting all together, crank out some mass together, have fun, catch up, good bonding time as you're also benefiting your local communities, hospitals, food banks, you name it.
That's great. I mean, I know our mission has been since 1926, Heritage Service Brotherhood, and right here we're talking about service and we're talking about brotherhood all rolled into one. So Alex, thank you so much for this idea. I think it's an amazing cause, and we're really looking forward to getting involved. And it even means that much more when it comes from the chapter level, and it reinforces how important our grassroots are to us as an international organization. So thank you so much for your time. I'm sure we'll talk soon, and we can't wait to get this initiative rolling.
Of course. Thank you for having me on. Bye.
Thank you, Alex. We
Take care,
appreciate
Alex.
it.
Yeah, Alex.
Stay healthy, stay soapy. All right, guys. So we're going to move on to our second segment of Soap Talk. We're going to move on to Tanea. Timothy, what do you got for us?
So I got a little something special that we're working on together with the maids. It's called Our Roots, Stories Told by Sons and Maids. It's a little something that we put together for you guys to connect with that special family member and write us a couple paragraphs, or even send us a recording on where you're from, how you guys came to settle where you are, just a little family history on yourselves. And if you would like, you guys can join us here and be interviewed on SOP Talks. If you want to take a look at our Instagram post, we've got some starter questions to get you guys going. And we look forward to hearing from you guys.
Absolutely. The maids, came up with this idea a little bit ago, and it's really starting to be coming to fruition now. And so when they were doing that, we were also kind of putting together our podcast idea. So we were like, if we could combine these things, we think it would be a good idea. So that's exactly what we're doing. Of course, if you, don't want to come on or don't want to record, that's absolutely fine. Check out, our post and contact the maids. I believe their email address that they want you to use is moagrandlodge@gmail.com. Shoot them an email, tell them that you're interested, and they'll kind of, shoot you some more questions. I believe that they want a 500-word paragraph, so minimally, we'd love it if you did that. If you want, though, you could come on our show, send us a recording like Tim said, and we'd love to have you on. Thank you, Tim. Appreciate that. Circling back to Corona, actually, Yanni's going to share with us a little bit about what's going on, not necessarily right here at home, but more so back in the motherland. Jan, what do you got?
So I've been talking to not only family, but some friends who are out there, some knows, some godchildren. Everyone who's out there is now under a strict quarantine to the point where they have to text the government, or there's an app basically where they say, hey, government, I want to go for a walk, or hey, I need to go to the supermarket, or hey, I need to go to the bank. And they will most likely say yes, but there's also times where they can say no, and they track it kind of by demographic, and they track it by who's let out in certain areas of Greece, not only Athens, but even in the villages. And they're even considering, even though it's been working, and Greece has been praised multiple times in comparison to Spain, France, and London for flattening the curve way better than any other country did in Europe, and considering the density in some of the areas, including Athens and Thessaloniki, even the villages sometimes, like it's common areas where a lot of people go and where they settle and just kind of sit down and don't move, and everyone goes there. And that's why they did this, and that's why they have this program where you have to text to leave, because they closed down the schools and then everyone went to the cafeteria, and then they closed down the cafeteria and then everyone went to the cafeterias, and then they literally said, okay, enough is enough. We're going to close down everything. You guys aren't allowed anywhere. And it's working, and it's working still, but they're still adding more. And that's what I think that a lot of people need to realize is like, yeah, it's working, but that doesn't mean that the Greeks now are going to go out for Easter and be everywhere, platias, ecclesias. Like, there's an order that they're going to ban vehicles to travel during the whole, like, no one will be allowed to leave from Horiot to Athens, from village to wherever. Like, no one will be allowed on the roads on some of the holiest days where people see a lot of family, to encourage that social distancing and to make sure that even though they're doing a good job, to keep it up, because it can all come back as a second wave if everyone for 2 days of the year goes back to the churches and to everyone's houses and just unleashes whoever's contaminated, I guess. So maybe something to think about, when you're thinking, oh, maybe we can squeeze a few people together for this weekend. Like, use methods like this, talk to your families. But I know my family's doing the same thing. We usually get a full army. It's been like a 15-year tradition. We're barely getting a leg. Like, we're doing Paidakya this year, doing the lamb chops. Like, there's 4 people. We're not gonna eat a whole lamb. It's impossible. So just think a little bit more that way, and maybe learn from the Greeks from one thing recently.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's been amazing. Like, they're flattening the curve, and you look at the graphs even between, I know I've seen one graph that has comparing countries with similar populations, similar sizes, right? So Belgium, Portugal, and Greece's curve is flatter than all of theirs. And I think the key has been with them too. They got all these measures in place early. They didn't wait reactively to say, let's wait until cases keep going up and up and up. And once they get to a certain threshold, we'll enact these measures. They had a couple cases, and early on they established these measures. And at the time, I know it's not easy for anybody. It's not easy for anybody across the globe to have to quarantine themselves. But when you look at the effects that it's having, I was reading this morning, I think Greece has 100 deaths total, a couple thousand cases, which is minimal compared to where you look at some other countries that are being affected, and you look at the shortages that Greece could have faced in their healthcare system and in their economy. You look at the elderly population that resides in Greece and how much of a disaster this could have been, and you look at how early they were able to get these preventative measures in place, and it's really impressive, and something that we all across the world should really be modeling. Which is, Yanni, you mentioned it perfectly. It's nice to see Greece as a role model and somebody that we can actually look to for. It's a positive thing on a global scale, and that's always great to be able to be proud of something that our Patria has done. So
you take their cafeteria away, you take everything. Like, they can't go anywhere. They're just gonna. They're all really bored. They're all like really, really bored.
Everybody is, man.
Yeah, but that's what I told them. I'm like, we're all bored. Like, it's not.
Maybe they should start a podcast, huh?
Greeks are always out, right? Like, Greeks are never home. What, Paul?
I said maybe they should start a podcast.
That'd be cool. Awesome. Well, thank you, Jan. That's great insight. To wrap up, Tanea, I wanted to briefly touch on something a little bit more positive. Something, I was happy to see another example of seeing the Greece or the Greek community in headlines for the first time positively. I saw that the St. Nicholas Greek Orthodox Church and National Shrine up in New York is finally seeing, you know, resurrection plans being made, and there's actual progress being done. That's something that I think, you know, today's Holy Tuesday, something that, you know, I'm sure a lot of people have prayed for and thought about. And I just wanted to, you know, briefly bring that up and say, you know, there is a little bit of good news. There is a little bit of good things going on that, you know, regardless of the adversity that it may have faced in the past, it is finally, you know, getting the recognition, the care, and the proper attention that it should. I believe that I read that they are predicting, or, you know, projecting the hopeful opening date for to be September 11th, 2021. So it'll be, you know, right at the 20th anniversary, and, you know, I think that will be absolutely fantastic. All right, so our third segment is Atletica. Jan.
Still postponed. No, it's not getting better. I'll be honest with everyone. NHL announced today that the social distancing recommendation will be extended another 15 days. I'm pretty sure every league that has those recommendations coming up, because no one came out and said they're indefinite. They said we'll do it a month and then see from there. So more likely than not, we'll see another month extension of some sorts. Other than that, nothing really has been going on. Unfortunately, there was a death that was related to COVID. The first one that I know of, please correct me if I'm wrong, if there's been a player of some sort, but Karl Anthony Thomas's mother passed away from the disease. Now, I don't know if it was contracted through Karl Anthony Thomas, but it is something that's closely related to a player for the first time, unless you guys have heard something else of that nature.
I don't believe so. I think I saw a bodybuilder got hospitalized, and, you know, I've seen different people are like, you know, doing their social distancing stuff, but I don't think I've seen anybody that's been, you know, like especially a higher up sports celebrity that's been like, oh, I have, you know, corona, or my family member has corona. So that's, you know, good.
It's a good thing so far, knock on wood, that no one crazy has been affected, or that it's trying to be mitigated. There was a case, I don't know if you guys heard, Colby Davis from Edmonton, from the Oilers, who passed away from internal bleeding in his brain. So a bunch of people at Edmonton, what are they going to do? They can't go to a funeral. I thought this was a nice gesture. They all did a drive-by of the parents' place. So obviously they couldn't pay their respects otherwise. So they had like a massive convoy going down the highway. So
that's beautiful. That's great. That's fantastic. Huh.
Kind of similar to that birthday thing we were talking about, where
that was cute.
That was so yeah, exactly. It's all we can do in times like this. But other than that, unless you guys have anything else for sports, that's really it.
Todd Gurley
playing Patriots Super Bowls all weekend. You guys see that? Ryan, I know you saw last night.
Did you see Sundays, Yanni? Sundays was a good one. Sunday at 3:00.
No, I missed that one, Paul.
That was nice.
I don't know that one.
Yeah, Eli missed a couple sacks on that one too, so nice how that worked out. But
Eli, who's that?
Of the Manning clan?
Did he get
Clan Manning?
Of Clan Manning.
No, that's fantastic. Todd Gurley's coming back home, folks. I'm excited. You're excited. We're all excited. And it's just fantastic. As, you know, a student, I got to watch him play at UGA, and it was dirty. Excuse me, as a kid.
Really? I didn't know that. Is that your phone?
Do we have callers already? Are they really excited about Todd Gurley coming back to the Falcons?
It is my aunt. All right, so Theod's going to have to wait for a minute, but...
Did you seriously see Todd Gurley play at UGA, though? That's pretty cool. What do you think of the new uniforms? That's what I wanted to ask you.
Absolutely. Yes, and which new uniforms? Excuse me. Falcons?
Yeah, the Falcons.
The Falcons. The UGA has, like, they'll change it every now and then. Like,
okay. No, like sorry, that. I was relating back to the...
Hey, look, I mean, yeah, okay, like...
They're flashy, you know, they're cool.
Yeah, kind of. It's like when the Hawks put the green, the highlight in theirs. It was like, okay, that's fine. I'll watch it.
It's like that Xbox. Yeah, it's like this green. It's like that Xbox green. You know, it's
yeah. It's a thing. Everybody's doing. Actually, Atlanta United has it because.
So you learn Greek history, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Go walk around Athens for a little bit.
That's amazing.
Next week, we'll discuss historical accuracy of Greek-themed video games.
Honestly, I've walked around Plaka, Monastiraki, all those areas. Like, it's pretty good. Like, walking up the steps. Have you guys been to the Parthenon?
In real life or in Assassin's Creed?
Oh, man, in real life, not Assassin's Creed. It's seriously like walking up the steps in that game, like where you walk through the gates. Like, it's actually.
Felt like you were really there.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I liked it. It's a sweet game. They've added like the mythical. Anyways, we're not here to talk.
And that
about
becomes all the much more important too with us having to quarantine, this virtual tourism. I think they launched that new initiative, right? Greece from home or something, where you can actually kind of virtually visit Greece.
Stuff too. They have like virtual tours, and I think Louvre
Disney's posting a lot about, like, they'll post their parades, ride-throughs of their different rides, like in like 4K quality too. Like it's some wild stuff. I've watched a couple, like, of my favorite rides. It's a good time. Anyways,
have you had somebody like push you in your office chair yet to give you that real feeling, like spin you around like you're on the teacups?
Just like the kids you see on Facebook. No, my mom actually put me in a little storage bin, and she was like, it was great.
The things we do in quarantine.
People
really, she's doing this.
we're getting, people are getting creative. It's pretty wild.
I've seen the best videos of just all sorts of shenanigans. There's no other way to put it that people are coming up with. I've seen, like, throwing a ping pong ball off 5 different pans into a solo cup. I've seen these crazy Rube Goldberg machines all through the house, and people are just occupying themselves every which way. It's impressive.
The golf trick shots are crazy too.
A lot of golf trick shots.
Yeah, I'm expecting a few from you.
I should start some, to be honest.
Absolutely.
A couple holes in my wall.
Put them right here.
If you guys play them on here, I'll get a trick shot going.
Don't forget to subscribe. So let's go ahead and wrap up that now. We'll get to our 4th segment. My personal favorite sometime, Euro. Last week I mentioned we're going to talk a little bit about, what we're doing at home, but specifically what apps we're using. And I mentioned TikTok. I actually said TikTok twice. I've already said TikTok 3 times now. So first off, before I get to it, let me make sure I read this correctly. If you're on TikTok, if you are a talker, be sure to check out Christina with a K, KRISTINAAXOX, as well as Markella, MARKELLAROROS. Go ahead and follow them on TikTok. It is quality content. You might see somebody on there. But anyways, me personally, I was a big fan of Vine. So I was like, TikTok can't be that great. Vine was fantastic. And then I realized V2 or Vine 2 was never going to be a thing. So I gave in. I downloaded TikTok. I've seen some decent things. A couple of songs get stuck in my head. I may know the Renegade dance, but that's not here nor there.
You do know the Renegade.
Do you guys, are we talkers? Are we cool kids? Are we hanging? Are we hip? What are we doing? What kind of apps are we using, guys? To fill our time, and are we still playing Candy Crush? Are we still?
No. You guys hear Reddit? Like, you guys on Reddit at all?
Big Reddit fan, personally.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The only time I see TikToks is from KRISTINAAXOX. She sends me a bunch of those. So
I've heard of her.
I'm not on TikTok. I refuse to download that app. Like, whatever I need to see, she can send to me, and my Twitter and Reddit and Instagram.
If you think we should start our own TikTok, and the Lodge can do Renegades and Carol Baskins and I'm a Savage or whatever the kids are doing nowadays, go ahead, leave a comment down below, leave a like. If we get to 30 likes, we will make a TikTok page, and there will be at least one video of at least one of us doing one TikTok dance. That might be all that's posted, but there's no vote here. So moving on, I want to touch on 2 other things before we, totally wrap this up. We're talking about, doing podcasts and doing things to keep us, occupied. Before, I would say last November, 5 months ago. Oh my goodness, 6 months ago. That was so long ago. I wasn't really a big podcast person, but the Office ladies, better known as Angela Kinsey and Jenna Fisher, who played Angela and Pam from The Office. They started a podcast, and it is absolutely fantastic. They go through, they rewatch an episode, they talk about it for about an hour. And I think that's really pushed some other podcasts to be made, like Fake Doctors, Real Friends, which is a Scrubs rewatch podcast. I had to talk about it because that's my favorite show. But I want to ask you guys, do y'all watch any podcasts, or what are some podcasts that you've heard of besides this one right here, Baby SOP Talks, that you would recommend?
Thea's calling again.
Thea's upset.
Answer the phone. Get her on Soap Talks right now. Surprise guest, Ryan's
Yeah,
Thea.
you're live.
I put it on hold.
Overdrive is a great sports podcast. I don't know, it's a Canadian one, but those guys are funny. No Laying Up is a great golf podcast. Those guys are both YouTube and talking.
Wait, is Overdrive golf?
No, Overdrive is all sports. So we have TSN in Canada. You guys, like, you have your ESPN. We have TSN, which is our version of it. So it's the guys from TSN.
They started playing hockey on NBC in America, like reruns.
Did you guys see they're doing Olympics reruns on NBC Sports? I think it might start this week or next week.
That's weird.
I mean, well, they had to postpone Tokyo, so I guess they figure, nostalgia of Rio and London. They're going to be playing even like opening ceremonies and closing ceremonies.
Interesting.
Could be interesting.
That's what these things are from right here. Opening ceremonies 2004.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
That is very
I was there. That's one of the cooler things I've done, to be honest.
Wow.
All right. Well, now
and I also saw the flame pass in front of my horio. It was like the same.
That's sick. That's sick. That's cool.
That's really cool.
Oh, dude, 04 was the best year. Like 04 was Euro. 04 was Athens. Like,
that's fantastic.
An amazing year for Greece.
Back in our diaper days, we were 9 to
we're in 9.
11 years old.
Sounds right for Ryan. Yeah.
Anywhere. Anyways, last thing I want to touch on before we close out here. Yanni mentioned it earlier, but do you guys have your plans for Easter yet? I know it's just coming Sunday. I know by the time you're watching this, you've already celebrated Easter. It's next Tuesday already. But for us right now, we're at Holy Tuesday, a little bit before Easter. Do you guys have any plans yet? I know Yanni, you mentioned you're gonna get a lamb and cook it for the 4 of you at home. But Tim, Paul, do you guys have your plans already? Or
I'm kind of in the same boat as Yanni. Usually we're doing a nice souvla, but this year it's just lamb chops.
Sucks.
Small.
I hate it.
Yeah.
Easter's my favorite holiday. I actually hate those.
Really?
Yeah,
For me though, it's a big thing about like missing church too. It does not.
Yeah, I enjoy Holy Week and Easter more than Christmas. Christmas is one day. Holy Week is like Palm Sunday to Sunday. I don't know.
Like I'm still trying to do the fasting and everything, but like it's just it feels different.
Fasting's hard while you're just sitting at home all day.
It's weird.
It's weird.
Are you guys fasting, or Paul, Ryan? Are you guys fasting?
I don't personally know.
I'm trying, but it's been tough, especially, it's been tough to get, like, early on, it was actually tough to get food. And so, like, we ate what we had. Now, later on in Lent, we're trying to fast a little more, but still we're eating what we have at this point. It's been difficult. It's been one of those Lents where it's like, I had to remind myself last week that, like, oh, wow, next week's Easter, it's Pascha already next Sunday.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't feel like Easter, right? There hasn't been that service. Usually Palm Sunday is when it kicks in. You have that palm in your hand. You're like, I know what's coming. This is going to be a good week. But you didn't have that. And
I know the churches have really done a great job actually with the digital streaming. And I know the Archdiocese website, GoArch, has like 150 churches just list.
Yeah, it's wild.
If any of you guys wake up late on the East Coast, Calgary does theirs 2 hours later. So Father Pete's got a great voice.
That's fantastic.
That's actually
we're here for you.
We were just talking about that because, like, we're still working. Some of us, still working. Some of us remotely, and so our church services, for whatever reason, some of them are happening at like 5:30, and if we're still at work, we can't really get offline to go watch the service. So something like that, where if you're still working until 6:30, you you can't do the physical thing anyway, so maybe watch a Pacific Coast stream or a Mountain Time stream, or I mean, it's actually a pretty good option for somebody who has to
we
work a
would
little
be
bit.
8 to 10 for you guys because it's 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. here. Yeah, so 8 to 10.
So somebody who's working till 6:30 doesn't want to be late, wants to see the whole thing. I remember back when I was working for Chick-fil-A, I did that for Good Friday. I was going to miss my first Good Friday. I was working till like 11 p.m. and then I found a video stream of like Los Angeles or something, and at
Nice.
11 p.m. just like got on and watched the Epitafio go around, and it wasn't like being there, but it was better than nothing.
Yeah, I didn't even think of it. The Epitafio, like that's also a great service. Like the Friday night, we have a
so
nice
they're not going
little
to be able to even
around our ecclesia where we walk it around. So
they're probably not even going to be able to carry it around because you can't have that many people. You just leave it right on the.
For us, it's been a
stand.
papa, a psalty, and a helper. I don't know what you want.
Yeah, same for us here.
Yeah.
That's what they do across
Like
Canada.
3 people. That's it.
We've been fortunate, I guess the word. It's been neat. Let me say that. That's for sure. It's been neat because we've had our bishop here. We're the metropolis down here. It's the metropolis of Atlanta. It's right next door to our cathedral. So it's actually been really nice because he was on Mount Athos, excuse me, and like just ridiculous chanting. It's been fantastic to see him do the services and participate and serve in the services. But it's definitely weird. We've had 2 chanters, the bishop, both of our priests usually, so about 5, and then 1 or 2 like helpers. So we've actually been rolling kind of deep, in my opinion.
Sounds like a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's 7, so it's still. I think
Yeah,
we're
it's not that many. I guess.
under 10 right now, so we're still okay.
Like, there's no way you guys are gonna have the little angels for the Friday night. Like, there's no. What are
Oh,
those?
the Miroflores, yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Little angels.
Mer
I don't know what
bearers.
they're called.
Mirophilus?
Mother would kill me right now if I said that in front of her.
It's been look. You start forgetting these things when you're dealing with a pandemic and can't go to church. That's why.
Keep the mind working, guys. Otherwise, we're gonna start losing it.
Absolutely.
Well, I know it wouldn't be Yiro Yiro if we didn't come full circle, right? And so I just want to wrap back around to coronavirus, and let's stay on this path of trying to provide some relief and provide some optimism and solutions during this problem time. I know we discussed a couple of different fundraising ideas already. Be on the lookout for it. You asked, we answered. We will be making Greeks in Atlanta, the Atlanta that never was, commemorative T-shirts, 2020, coming to you shortly. Get ready for them. All profits will be going towards coronavirus relief. And we'll also be hosting, for you gamers out there, we've talked about it, hinted at it the last couple of weeks, a Call of Duty tournament. Logistics will be made, but our plan is, we will be hosting a tournament. Winners get some cash prizes. Let's enjoy a weekend fellowship and brotherhood and donate the profits again to coronavirus relief. Let's try to make sure we make the most of our time at home, I think. And this is a couple of the ways that we're trying to do that here in the Sons of Pericles. So take us home, Ryan.
Absolutely. Well, like we said at the beginning, we really appreciate each and every single one of you, individually and as a whole. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Y'all have a good night. Stay soapy.
Take care.